What is SEO? How do you do SEO? And perhaps most importantly, how do you do SEO in a way that helps you get more leads, traffic, and sales to your business? I'm going to answer all of those questions and a lot more in this free series called The Fundamentals of SEO. And I'm going to do it with as little technical jargon as possible. Really, so I want to take you from a complete SEO noob to a very competent SEO practitioner. And that's whether you're a freelancer or maybe you're an internal stakeholder within your marketing department and you just want to improve at this crucial skill. And this course will cover a lot. We'll start by talking about what SEO is. We'll talk about how Google works, how they crawl and index the web, how they serve up search results, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how to get your site on Google and, of course, what everyone's here for, how to rank higher in search results so you can edge out your competition and get more of that search traffic. We'll talk about how to do on-page SEO, how to do off-page SEO, what those terms even mean, how to do technical SEO, the importance of content marketing, conversion rate optimization, advanced SEO tools. We'll talk about advanced technical SEO, things like programmatic SEO and using code in SEO. All of these things we're going to get into. It's going to be a lot of fun, so I hope you'll come along for the ride. So if we've not met before, my name is Matt, and I've been doing just that. For the past 10 years, I've been helping businesses and brands get more leads, traffic, and sales to their website through SEO in tandem with other things like content marketing and email marketing. We'll talk about those things a bit as well. So it's great to meet you, and let's dive right into the first topic, which is, what is SEO? Well, thankfully, we don't need to really wonder about what SEO is because Google gives us a pretty concise and somewhat vague definition of what it is. Nevertheless, they give us a definition. And this can be found on their official Google Search Central documentation, which I highly recommend diving into, although you don't have to because I'll be going over a lot of this stuff throughout this course. Now, it simply says, search engine optimization is the process of making your site better for search engines. I like to go a step further with my definition. My definition is giving searchers exactly what they're looking for in the exact format Google wants you to give it. Now, I'll flesh that out more in a second, but a real argument could be made that the people who do this the best are the ones that will always succeed at SEO. And that brings me to a very important concept in SEO called user intent. And I'd like to illustrate what user intent is with an example. The first thing I'm going to do is search this simple keyword, and it's how to choose a chainsaw. Now, a couple things. What I just typed into the Google search bar, that is known as the keyword. It doesn't matter if there are multiple words in the keyword. An entire search phrase is known as a keyword. A keyword can be one word, it can be 5 words, it can be 10 words, it could probably be 20 words. That is a keyword. What we see before us, this page, is called the search engine results page. Every single keyword has a corresponding search engine results page, otherwise known as a SERP, is what we call it. So let's take a look at the SERP and see what we see. Well, first of all, the first result is a chainsaw buyer's guide. The next thing is we have this section called the People Also Ask section, and we'll get into that later in the course. We'll talk about that throughout the course. We have another site from Lowe's, another page from Lowe's, Electric and Gas Chainsaw Buying Guide, how to pick the best chainsaw for your needs. So it's very clear that we can see that the intent behind this phrase is someone who is maybe knowing that they need a chainsaw, but they're not quite ready to buy, and they want to know what to look for when they're purchasing a chainsaw. That is the user intent of this keyword. And again, I mentioned user intent at the beginning of this section. User intent is the one North Star in SEO that I always have to come back to. Whenever things get complicated, whenever I get bombarded by different technical issues and I get sort of down a rabbit hole of keyword research and, all of these sorts of technical things that SEO can entail, I always have to return back to user intent. What does the user want? Because if you can empathize with the user as they're searching, that's pretty much like a superpower. If you can get inside their brains, you can know exactly what they're looking for. Again, back to my definition, giving them exactly what they're looking for in the format that Google wants you to give it. So SEOs like to categorize user intent in different sort of buckets. So this user intent would be considered informational intent. This person's not necessarily looking to buy, they're just looking for information. So if Google is determined that this is informational intent and they're serving up all of these buying guides, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to target this keyword, how to choose a chainsaw, for your product page, right? That doesn't match the user intent of what people are searching for, and it also doesn't match the user intent of what Google thinks people want. Now this is important, and we'll talk about this as well throughout the course, but 95% of the time, you don't want to go against Google's search intent. You don't want to go against the grain. There are certain times where Google is just plain wrong, and if you know your customers better than Google does, sometimes you will want to go against the search intent. But if Google is saying, hey, I think I want to serve up a bunch of buying guides for these people, you don't want to serve up a product page, probably. Unless you have a really, really good reason to go against that, you don't want to go against Google's search intent. Now let's look at another type of user intent by simply changing one keyword. So I'm going to go from how to choose a chainsaw to how to use a chainsaw. Now this dramatically changed the search engine results page, as you can clearly see here. What do we see when we look at the SERP now? We see a YouTube video. Interesting. We see a people also ask section. We see another YouTube video and another YouTube video and another YouTube video, until finally we get to some articles. Now what does this tell you? Again, going back to my definition, user intent, giving the user exactly what they want in the format that Google wants you to give it. The user here is clearly looking for education. This is what we would call educational intent. They want to be educated on the nuts and bolts of how to safely use a chainsaw. This could be someone who has already purchased a chainsaw and wants to know how to use it safely, or it could be someone who's just curious. How do you use a chainsaw? Maybe I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'm considering clearing some debris from my yard and I just want to know, how do chainsaws work? The point is that if you try to write an article on how to use a chainsaw, well, you're probably not going to rank at least in the top 5 for this, because you see video, 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 video. If you want to rank highly, the users, clearly, they want you to show them. So this is educational intent. And so if you are, let's say you're running a chainsaw affiliate site, where you're basically selling chainsaws of other manufacturers and you're getting a cut of the affiliate revenue on the back end. For this one, you're probably going to want to do a demonstration video of how to use a chainsaw. So again, it goes back to, what is the format that Google wants you to deliver this content, and what do people want? And there are other types of user intent, such as if I just went into the Google search bar here and I typed in Facebook. Clearly, I'm looking for one thing. This is called navigational intent. I just want to go to the Facebook website. There's another type of user intent called transactional intent. I'm ready to buy right now. That's when I would type in something like best chainsaw deals. Okay, immediately you can see, look at that, boom, 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 all of this high transactional content. We got the prices here, everything. Same thing if I were to type in Still chainsaw. These are a specific brand of chainsaws, and you can see, boom, I get all my Still chainsaws right here, and I can purchase them. This is transactional intent. Now, a lot of SEOs and a lot of marketing people say, well, this is easy. We want to make money, so let's just target the transactional keywords, right? Easy enough. Unfortunately, it's not that simple, mostly because everyone is targeting those transactional keywords, and in order to really stand out, you need to not only target the transactional keywords, but you also need to target the educational keywords and the informational keywords. In fact, an argument could be made that you need to target those things more to be able to build trust with your users, who then search the transactional terms to buy your product or service. Now, it's important that we set the groundwork for what SEO is and what SEO is not. Now, I love SEO. That's no secret. It's my favorite marketing channel, especially when done in tandem with content marketing and email marketing. However, there are some pros and cons to SEO that you should be aware of. So I want to go over those now, because it's definitely not a silver bullet. Again, there's no such thing as a perfect marketing channel. So let's go over those pros and cons now. So let's talk about the pros of SEO. So Google search traffic is highly qualified. What I mean by that is, when you go on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, you're not going there to be bombarded by ads. In fact, those ads are often very annoying. That's why we have things called ad blockers. And sometimes an ad will catch our attention, will convert, and will purchase a product. So I think ads are definitely very useful, and they have their place. But by nature, ads are interruption marketing. They're interrupting you. Think of a commercial. They're interrupting you when you're trying to do something else. Google, on the other hand, these people are actually seeking out answers to their questions. they're not being interrupted. They're the ones doing the seeking. They're the ones typing things in to the Google search bar, and they want answers to their questions. And if you can be the first person to answer their questions, or the best person to answer their questions, that's going to give you a lot of trust from the user. That could lead to a transaction. In fact, it often does lead to a transaction if you guide them down the funnel well. The next pro of SEO is that it's a highly, highly sustainable long-term growth channel. It takes a while for SEO to fully mature on your site, and we'll talk about that in a second. But once you've put in the work, SEO continues to bring in leads and traffic for your business, even if you stop creating content. And I want to show you an example of that. Now, what you're seeing on your screen here is a piece of content that I wrote in 2020 for one of my former clients called Accent Technologies. They are a B2B SaaS sales enablement platform. And I wrote this blog post for one of their target keywords called "What is a Sales Portal?" Okay, so you can see here, basically it goes in depth on what a sales portal is. Accent added their own content here, which is very helpful. And yeah, it's a great blog post, but on its surface, it just looks like a blog post. Great, it's a piece of content. But here's the thing. If you go to Ahrefs, which is my SEO tool of choice, we'll talk more about Ahrefs throughout this course, and I type in accenttechnologies.com, and I look at their top pages. This is their #1 highest trafficked page. This brings in the most, 30% of their organic traffic comes from this one blog post. Now that's incredible. If you think of how many years this has been in publication, since 2020, and you think about the average conversion rate of a company, let's say it's 1%, 1% to 3%, and then you think of how many people after they convert, let's say they convert to get a demo request, how many they convert to a sale. That's a huge ROI for one blog post to get all those conversions that then potentially lead to sales, especially if you're selling high-ticket SaaS products. So you can see that a piece of content, when done well and when done in tandem with SEO, is not just content. It is an asset. It is an asset that you invest in that keeps returning that investment into your business year after year after year. And the crazy part is, we published this once and never updated it. And because of the power of SEO, it continues to get organic traffic every single month. Now let's talk a little bit about the cons of SEO, because there are some cons. Here's the thing. SEO takes a long time. There's no getting around it. SEO to fully mature on your site can take anywhere from 3 months up to 6 months, and in some cases, if you're working with a brand new site, even 12 months to mature. And well, why is that? Well, it's because everybody wants to be at the top of Google, right? Obviously, everybody wants to be at the top of Google, but Google is very selective. You can't just publish a page on how to choose a chainsaw or whatever example you want to use that's relevant to your business and expect to be #1. Google is highly, highly, highly selective, and as such, you have to build trust with them. Not only that, but you have to build trust with Google searchers, because Google uses a lot of the patterns that searchers are exhibiting to basically determine, okay, how high should this page be? If people are going to this page and then immediately pogo sticking, which is when you hit back on your browser because it didn't answer the question, well, that's a negative ranking signal, and Google will basically take you down. So here's the thing. SEO takes a really long time. It takes a really, really long time. And if you don't have the stomach to basically wait it out, invest in these things, and not immediately see a return, well, I don't know what to tell you, because it just takes a while. There's no getting around it. Another con is that Google often changes their search algorithm. Now, I debated as to whether to put this in the cons or not, because technically, if you're abiding by Google's helpful content guidelines and their people-first content guidelines, then you probably won't be very affected by the Google algorithm. However, I have seen that in the September helpful content update that just happened in September 2023, even good sites were penalized. So Google doesn't always get it right. And sometimes their algorithm will actually punish sites that are producing good content. So that is a risk. It doesn't happen all the time, but it can happen. And the last thing is that it can often be very time consuming to create content that Google loves. I mean, if you want to be competitive, if you want to create blog content that actually stands out, you can't just ask ChatGPT to write you a blog post and then throw it on a page. You need well-researched statistics. You need images and rich media. You need video. You need things like pull quotes to break up the text. You need all these interstitial elements. You need calls to action throughout the blog post. You need a good author with a byline. If it's something that's a very technical topic, you need an expert that reviews it, and that can add up. Paying for copywriters and graphic designers. But again, you have to think of your content that you're creating for SEO as an asset. Just like any other asset, anything in the stock market, real estate, you invest in it in hopes that you're getting an ROI. So you have to have that mindset. But that said, it can be expensive and time consuming to create great content that ranks well in search. So those are the pros and cons of SEO. So I know I've given you a lot of information so far, and I don't want this first lesson to go on forever. But again, I'll say, if you like this, I would love if you could drop me a like on this video, or if you're watching on LinkedIn, follow me for future videos, and drop a comment. Let me know, what do you want to learn next? Do you like this format? What do you want to see? Am I an idiot? Yeah, don't do the last one. I have a very sensitive I'm sensitive. In the next video, we'll talk all about how Google search works, how they crawl your website, how they index your website, and then how they serve your website up to your potential customers. But I will leave you with this one tip. If you're not sure if your website's on Google, there's an easy way to validate that. Go ahead and go to google.com, and in the search bar, simply type in site, and then the name of your domain. I'll do that for one of my niche sites, and you can see, if you see results here, that means that you are on Google. If you don't see results here and you only see this try Google Search Console box, that means you are not on Google yet. But fret not, because throughout this series and in the next video, we will show you how to get your website on Google and how to create content that Google loves to rank. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm really excited for this series. There's been a lot of learnings that I've developed over the course of this last decade, but I'm also very excited to learn from you. I learn brand new things about SEO every single day, and I'm extremely thankful for the SEO community. I'm a perpetual student of SEO, and I just want to impart that knowledge to you for free. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.